What's up, YouTube family and Browns fans everywhere? This is Cleveland Football, and I am your host, Terrence Hudson, aka T Hood. Today, I want to talk about the Cleveland Browns offensive personnel, as camp is only 2 days away. I know we got some breaking news earlier today about Josh Gordon, and I'll get into that a little bit later on. I want to start with talking about our quarterbacks. Yes, Tyrod Taylor. We went out and signed Tyrod Taylor. Then we turned around and drafted Baker Mayfield, #1 overall. Hugh Jackson named Tyrod the starter early on. I know some people think, well, why would you name the starter this early? Or why isn't it an open competition and all these things? Tyrod is our guy. Tyrod is a proven player in this league. He's been around winning organizations. He actually has a Super Bowl ring with that 2012 Ravens team. So he's been around winning situations. He actually took Buffalo, after almost 20 years, Buffalo to the playoffs last year. So I think he was a golden pickup. And starting out just based on the experience factor, he's the best man for the job. I mean, you're going to be competing. This is camp, but it's not saying that Baker Mayfield won't be able to compete. He should compete. This is the NFL. Especially at the quarterback position, you are always one play away. So he should prepare as if he's going to be the starter. But Tyrod is our guy. I see Tyrod as a guy who will be able to help Baker. And I'm just speculating. I could see when we were looking at Tyrod, it could have been a situation like, hey, we want you. You are a guy. We want you to know that up front. But we are going to draft a quarterback in the first round. Maybe you could help bring this guy along, mentor this guy. Not everybody can do that, but Tyrod seems like he's a guy that is willing to do that and that is able to do that. He's securing himself. He knows what he's done. He knows his skill set to where he can go out and say, I'm the guy. I know we drafted someone, but I can help bring this guy along, but I'm going to be the guy for this team and help us get some wins. But again, Baker should prepare because he's always one play away from being in the game. And in this league, you're going to need two good quarterbacks. Whether you have to come in for a series, a play, a game, 3 games, 4 games, you just never know. It happens every year. So Baker should prepare as if he's going to start. And eventually he'll get his opportunity. But for right now, Tyrod gives us the best chance to be successful. He's good with the football. He doesn't have a lot of, he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, has a lot of turnovers. He's smart with the football, and he's done it, over a period of time to where it shows, okay, he can play well in this league. Next, I want to talk about our offensive line, because it doesn't matter who we have at quarterback. If we're not straight up front, we could bring in a clone of Joe Montana, but if we're not right up front, it doesn't matter who we have back there quarterback. If it's not right, you will be seeing Baker Mayfield at some point, or even somebody else. But I think we have definitely have some bright spots on our offensive line. We have some strengths. One being the continuity in the guys playing together. We have 4 guys who started all 16 games together last year, being Sean Coleman, Joe Bitonio, J.C. Tretter, and Kevin Zeitler. So all those guys, they started 16 games together. They're going to have some chemistry. They're going to be used to one another, used to playing with one another. They know one another. I think that's definitely a bright spot for our offense. We did lose a legend in Joe Thomas. So we're going to have big shoes to fill there. Joe, I salute you. Joe was professional. He came to play every game, every season. He did it for a long period of time, and he went through some rough years, and he still came to play. each game. So salute to Joe. We got big shoes to fill. I'm happy to see Joe still around the team, still helping out these young guys. So I know just his presence in the locker room or even around the facility would be a tremendous help to our overall team. We did go out and sign Chris Hubbard, who played last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We signed him to a handsome deal. No problem with that. Get your money, young man. And I think he'll be moving to that right tackle position. And Sean Coleman should be moving over to the left tackle. At least that's what's projected right now. So big shoes to fill in Joe Thomas, but I think offensive line will be a strength of this offense. I'm excited to see what they will be able to do, especially in opening up some holes in that run game and setting up the pass. That leads me to our running back position. We went out, we signed Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde had some good years in San Francisco. He nearly rushed for 1,000 a couple of those years. He's still a young guy. He still got some tread on the tires. He still be able to, he has some speed. He catches the ball well out of the backfield. I think he'll be the starter or featured back. Then we have Nick Chubb, who we drafted out of Georgia. I'm waiting to see how Nick Chubb's skill set transitions to the NFL. I'm looking at his Georgia film. He has some huge holes to run through. I'm talking about if you had to draw a play up on paper, those were the plays he had where it just would match up perfect. The hole would be there. He would make the right cut and get through those holes, and he broke off some long ones. But I want to see how his skill set transitions to the NFL, where those windows are smaller, those holes are smaller, where you have to get through. You have to run some guys over, run through some arm tackles. Can he break away from NFL caliber speed? That's all remains to be seen. But I think we will see something in preseason, because rookies, they come into preseason, they have something to prove, especially at the running back position, to where guys going to be coming at you. So I'm waiting to see what Nick Chubb do at the NFL level. And then we have Duke Johnson. I see Duke as almost like a slot back, almost like a hybrid back, where he can do many things. He can catch the ball out the backfield. He can run. He can line up at receiver. He may be able to help out in special teams or the return game. So I think Duke, I'm glad we kept him and we could bring him along. Maybe I could see him having some packages, or maybe even being a third down back. We do have 2 fullbacks on the roster as of now. I see, was it Danny Vitale and is that Vasquez or Marquez Williams? So I don't know how much Todd Haley will use the fullback. So we'll see how we work them into the offense. And now I want to talk about our wide receivers. We got the news today. Josh Gordon will be away at the start of camp. Josh, I'm rooting for him. I'm cheering for him. I hope he gets whatever help that he needs, or whatever he needs to do to get himself healthy. His overall health comes first. To me, football, that's secondary. We want you to be all right. So when he comes, I'm not worried about the talent side with him, because I think he is a guy. You have those rare guys who could just step out on the field with limited practice, limited preparation, and they're going to still dominate. He is one of those type of guys. He has that type of talent. So I'm not worried about him catching up to speed on the football side, but we want his overall health to be well. And so that's what, you can speculate and say, oh, I wonder what's going on. Why is this happening? Or why is this now 2 days before camp? We don't know. We can only take him at his word for what he is doing. And we hope that he get the help that he needs, and he come back and he's healthy and he's ready to go at some point. Hopefully that's before the start of the season. That's what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. This is another bright spot for me on our offense is our receivers. We brought in Jarvis Landry from the Dolphins, from Miami. Landry is a guy where you probably really didn't pay much attention to over the last couple of years, unless you were down in Miami or you really watched the AFC East Division. Because I would say I was surprised, and as I looked and I saw his numbers, saw the things he was able to do, multiple 100 catch seasons. This guy has hands. He can catch. He worked well in between, the numbers and the hashes. He can work the middle of the field. He's one of those type guys. I can see him being a safety outlet for Tyrod Taylor or young Baker Mayfield, and being able to get loose in the middle of the field. I also see him as a guy who can help the young guys. I can see him as a guy showing the young guys how to prepare for a game, how to prepare your body, watching film in the film room. So I'm hoping that's the role that he's taking on, and those young guys can soak up all of that knowledge from him. And then we have Corey Coleman. Coleman he's actually taken a lot of heat. He's someone that was supposed to be projected at that third spot, but with things being, not being too sure about Gordon, Coleman's going to have to step up. And I give him the benefit of the doubt. You have to realize, he took a lot of heat. That Pittsburgh game last year, at the end of the game, he had to drop. He was down. A lot of people was down on him. But I give him the benefit of the doubt. He is someone, for me, looking at him, he was drafted by a bad team. He didn't have any consistency at quarterback. I think at one point he broke his hand last year. So he's had a rough first 2 years. But I'm looking for him to bounce back, shake those things off. Okay, you had some experience. You're ready now. You're ready to go and showcase what those things that you were able to do at Baylor. I think he could do those things in the NFL. He just has to get more reps, more playing time, and staying healthy. I think he'll be a tremendous asset for us because he can play. And then there are a host of other receivers out there who will be battling for spots. I see Ricardo Lewis. He's a name that's been mentioned. And so I'll be watching closely to see now who steps up into that third spot and that fourth spot. So those will be some interesting competitions and things to watch to see who steps up there. Then I'm going on to our tight end position. David Njoku and Seth DeValve. Those are our two tight ends. I like these two young guys a lot. Their numbers were very similar last year in catches, 32 for I think Njoku, or somewhere around there, 33 for Seth. Similar in yards. I think Njoku had maybe a few more touchdowns, but these guys, they complement one another. I think they play well together. I think we could do some things in the double tight end set with both of these guys. I think they're only going to get better, especially from your first year to your second year. There's so much growth there. I think these two guys will help us out tremendously. Offense, we have some pieces. We have some things to work with. I want to see how, we work in a Todd Haley offense. What will he do? Just listen to him talk a few different interviews. It sounds like he likes to play to his guy's strengths. So that's one thing I like. You're not going to force a player, whether it be a quarterback position or whatever, to say, all right, you're going to do it this way, and this is the way I do it. But he could, look and say, okay, what are your strengths? What are some of the things that you do well? Or what are some of the things that you like? What are some things that you've done well in the past? Okay, how can we use those things? So, I hopefully that's the approach that we're taking to the offense. We're excited about this offense. I think that was one of the things last year that, we had a tough time scoring points at times, putting a lot of pressure on the defense. But I think we'll be able to work together this year. Offense, just looking at it, I can see it being just so much better, even just by, what we're doing at the quarterback position with Tyrod Taylor. So this is my breakdown of our offense. Be looking out for a breakdown of the defense coming soon. If you like, make sure you hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. All right.